I had, let's see, I had 2 people make comic books. I had 1 person write a song. 1 person did an art poster. I had a podcast with cute music in the background and a very sultry voice. It was awesome. To that person, that was really sweet. Way to go. I was proud of you for that. I had 25 papers. So far, I've had 14 Google presentations. I've had 1 just person-to-person conversation. I love it. I love that all of you chose what you want and you made something quality. And here we go again. But this time, I'm going to grade you on the quality of your work. Last time it was, you gave it a good try. Way to go. Okay. And I'm not saying what you did was crap at all. Okay. For many of you, it was awesome. But this time, I'm actually going to read your papers. Like I'm going to actually read them and look for, here's your topic sentence, and here's your context part, and here's your quote, and there's your footnote, and there's your analysis of quote, and there's your specific example demonstrating the validity of the quote. I'm gonna read that thing. This time when you present, I'm actually going to look for evidence of quality and stuff like that. Once again, if you present to the group, ding! Okay, it's better if you present to the group. Okay, you get it? Here's an invitation. I want you to write 1 more paper, 1 more time, right? If you wrote the paper for the family and education thingy, awesome. You're done. But if you didn't, eventually you got to write 1 more paper. Now, after this unit, we cover crime. And then after crime, we cover race. And then after race, if there's time, we'll cover things like the liberal media, government, and global warming, and stuff like that. It's awesome. Okay. And so you'll have time, but eventually, you gotta, in other words, by the end of this course, you will have written 2 papers for me. The under God paper and whatever is. Okay? Okay. So let's take a look together, please, at these 2 sheets. Okay, let's look at, for you it's not pink, I don't think, but did you retrieve this when the sub was here? Did she hand out to you? If you need one, come on up. You need 1 of each. Where were you people? Why didn't you get one when I was gone? Never mind. Not a big deal. Well, see you later. Lord. Okay. That's all right. How are you feeling? Better? Yeah. Yeah, me too.
How long do you think I could hop over to Spanish for 15 minutes?
We're just going over these. Okay. So this should look familiar. It's the same format as previously, only there's another option here. This one. Okay. Let's go through this sheet first, and then I'll go through this sheet. So once again, I've got these standards that by the end of this unit, you should be able to describe different views of important locations. Like, for example, how many of you have ever been to Mount Rushmore? Mount Rushmore, Black Hills? Okay. We white people look at that and say, hey, look at those 4 white guys. Different groups of people look at that land as holy land that whites basically stole and then carved 4 white people into a mountain that is considered holy by another group of people. And I'm not here to say one group was right and one group was wrong necessarily, but that's one location that some people view one way and other people view a different way. Okay, that's an example of what we're talking about. Very much has to do with religion and spiritual beliefs and stuff like that. Okay. The next one is describe the formation of a religious group along with other characteristics of that group. And that's what the second handout is all about. And then analyze important Supreme Court decisions which affect religion and the impacts of those decisions. So for example, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to draw a crucifix on that wall, and then I'm going to have everyone stand up, and I'm going to lead you in the Lord's Prayer. All right? So here we go. I'm going to, and of course I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that because I can't. Never mind whether or not I even think I should. I've not expressed to you whether or not that's a valid thing, but I can't. Why can't I? Why can't I? Come on, everyone. Let's stand up and say the Our Father. Fine. Yeah, so I'm a teacher. Yeah. How many of you went to St. Anne's? Were you taught by teachers? The private school. Oh, there we go. And when did that start? When did this whole no more leading kids in prayer in public schools thing start? Ish. Yeah, it started with the Supreme Court decision. Engel v. Vitale ended that. You know that before that? That's exactly what happened in classrooms across the country. And as far as I know, by the way, it still sort of happens. You don't necessarily see it in classrooms, but coaches leading teams in prayer before a high school athletic event. Right? So it's still sort of out there, and sort of. Okay. So it says here, as I'm looking, that you have the ability, and so we can do this right now. Go ahead and go to SIRS and find all leading issues. The category is civil rights and liberties, and then the category is freedom of religion. I will also do that up here, just in case you're confused on what we're doing. Did that work? Was there a noise there? Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay, so here I am on SIRS, and it says here that I go to all leading issues, which is right there. Here are all the leading issues. And then it says civil rights and liberties. There it is, right there. Click on it. And then it says freedom of religion. There it is. Click right there. And bam, a bunch of fun issues that you can pick any one of them. So what do you think about school-led prayer? Click on it. If you click on that one, it will then take you to the question. There's your question. Whatever topic you choose, there's a question. That's the question you are exploring both sides of. Okay. Here are 3 articles that argue that schools should be allowed to conduct moments of silence or prayer services. These 3 articles argue it should happen. And here are 3 articles that say it should not happen, right? And then there's more stuff down below, political cartoons, timeline, historical events, stuff like that. Okay, there they are. It's all here. And you are being given permission to teach, to address any of these issues for this unit. Okay, pick any one you want. So then it says here, there's a separate handout, but I keep going here. For goals number 1 and 2, you got to read 2 articles, one for and one against, whatever your question is. Find a good quote, and then interpret what that quote means. Analyze the quote, and then it says bonus, find a good chart. And by the way, you don't have to only find 1, find 2, find 3. Great, awesome. Make your slideshow even better. And then make sure you cite your sources. Then it says for goal 3, see separate handout. That's something we're going to cover in a second. So what can you do with this? Well, there are the options. You could write a paper, or you could create a Google presentation, 3 to 6 slides. You could create a podcast, 3 to 5 minutes. You could create a video, 3 to 5 minutes. You could create a comic book, 6+ pages. You could do other. You could write a song. You could have just a verbal conversation with me. Whatever your strengths are. What do you like to do? Paint! I don't care. Okay? Do something that you enjoy doing. All right? Any questions on this bad boy? Just so I understand, are we in silence because we're in awe of how wonderful this is? Or are you like, it hurts. It hurts what you said. It hurts my feelings. Okay. Well, maybe this will brighten your mood. Or, hey, is there a crazy cult out there that you'd like to investigate? There she be. Okay. There she be. All right. So I'm assuming that lots of you want to do this. Okay. The problem is we have to cap it. We have to cap it. And that is where a friend of mine comes in. Many of you have met my friend. I keep him in the cupboard. His name is Mr. Fishbowl. This is Mr. Fishbowl. Mr. Fishbowl has amazing qualities. I could yell at Mr. Fishbowl, you wouldn't hear anything. Watch. Ah! Now you're probably saying to yourself, why did Mr. Potter open his mouth in Mr. Fishbowl and then just sit there and do nothing? But I yelled. You didn't hear anything. Now what I used to do with Mr. Fishbowl until I got in trouble a few years ago is I used to also say that you also can't see anything inside Mr. Fishbowl. And then I would stick my hand in here and I'd flip everyone off. And then a student told someone that's what I did and I got a talking to. So I'm not going to do that anymore. Anyway, if you would like, if this interests you, so I'm gonna give you a few minutes to kind of look this over, and there are options there. Those are some popular cult options. People's Temple, that's the one that they committed mass suicide in South America, Jonestown. You ever heard of that one? Hey, drink the Kool-Aid. That's the one right there. The drink the Kool-Aid one. They drank Kool-Aid. Heaven's Gate, that's the one that thought there was a spaceship behind a comet, so they committed mass suicide, so their souls could fly, and vodka, right? Something like that. Yep, that's that one. The Manson family, that was a cult. Branch Davidians, they committed mass suicide in Waco, Texas. The Rajneesh, they were a cult in India. They moved to Oregon because the land was cheap, and they took over a town. And to make sure that they controlled the town, they poisoned the fast food restaurant that the regular people ate at. Didn't quite work, but anyway. All right. Now, there are other options. These are not the only options available. There are other options. But if you know what that other option is, and I draw your name and there's nothing available, you're gonna have to say, well, I want to do this cult. So that's what you also need to find out like now. Okay? So let me just read this over, and if this interests you, your name needs to be in Mr. Fishbowl. Just tear out this corner and put your name on it. Okay? Legibly, so I can read it. Wait, before you tear your name off, understand what you're getting into here. Okay? If you choose this, you have to present before the class. That's not optional. I want to know. I'd like the class to know about these crazy things. So there's none of this. I'll just present to you. No, you need to share your joy with everyone. Does that frighten you? Then pick from this list. There's nothing wrong with this list. Just as much credit. Okay? You're not being penalized for doing this rather than this. Okay. And then there are the requirements, right? You see the requirements? You got to have a title slide. You got to have a 3 to 6 minute presentation to the class. You got to have visuals. We need to be looking at something. Instead of having the words David Koresh, have a picture of David Koresh and then say, this is David Koresh, right? Yes, dear. Partners. Yeah, partners. Fine. God, I'm the weakest person I know. Okay. It says there, you can have a note card in your hand. I also allow that which shall not be named. You can have that in your hand too. You know, those devices that are evil. Okay. It says that one of the things you're going to have to answer, and this will make sense. My job during this next couple of weeks is to teach you about different types of cults. Some cults are destructive cults. Some cults are doomsday cults. Some cults are political cults. And some cults are crazy sex cults, polygamous cults. Okay, which one's yours? Okay. It says here you can use the cult checklist as a guide. I will give to you a kind of a cheat sheet of things to look for. Hey, you just might be in a cult if any of these things apply. You just might be in a cult, right? And then you need a list of your sources. I have here suggested topics, like what are you going to teach the class about your cult? Well, number one, what did they believe? What radical things did they believe in? What were their teachings? Second thing, why does everyone else think it's weird, right? One of the identifiers of a cult is that they believe A and everyone else says that's weird that you believe A. Well, okay, what is it that they believe that makes them appear odd to the dominant population? Okay. Number three there, the bad ending. You just might be in a cult if it ended badly. Okay, you might be in a cult. Okay, so in other words, many of these don't exist anymore. It ended badly. Okay, where did it begin? What are some of the rituals? Those are fun. How about examples of people who attempted to escape? That's another dead giveaway if you're in a cult. If you say, I want to go now, and they say, you're not going anywhere. By the way, is this school a cult? Okay. And then lastly, the charismatic leader. Another dead giveaway is that there's this charismatic, gripping person, and it's a cult of the person. That's a dead giveaway. Okay. Now, over there on the right, it says options. Please scratch that out. That is not true. You're going to do a presentation. Sorry. If you're doing this. I want all of us to enjoy how wonderful that was. Okay? So, if you think that might be interesting to you, then get your name into Mr. Fishbowl, and I will draw.
Just your name, nothing else.
Just your name, first and last name, please. This class is over at 11:35. I'll draw at, say, quarter after. So you have 5 minutes to make a decision. Think about it. Okay. I'll do my best. Okay.
Wait, do you draw all of them?
I'm going to draw and fill in these. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 here.
If you're doing your own.
I'll draw 10 names, but then if you have another one in mind, then when I draw your name, you say, I want this. Although you already got yours.
So I don't have to put my name.
Don't put your name on it.
Okay, and
I mean, do put your name on it.
no groups of three?
No.
Okay.
So don't.
I'm standing strong for that one. No groups of 3. Dang it.
Mr. Potter.
You're,
Wait.
So don't. Okay.
So Kaylee emailed Coach in the past because she's kidding. Could we like put those emails on PowerPoints because they responded? Like we have her questions to the cults and then like the response.
yeah. Put your name right there. This is my comment. The reason I don't put Scientology on there as a cult is because some people don't consider it to be so, and so we just have to be careful.
Give a disclaimer up here.
Right.
So you could totally.
You're right. Okay. Okay. So now, Z, what's happening is really the rest of the hour is for you to use. I will draw at quarter after, so you have about 5 minutes, and then I'll draw. I'll be in my office. If you need to present, I'll be in my office. If you need to start looking up what interests you, please do so. If you have a summative from the previous unit to finish, please do so. And don't count on a whole lot of time after today. We got to get going on these cults and stuff. Let's rock. Okay.
So like people are doing presentations on them. Are we gonna learn about them outside of the presentations? Like, are you gonna